Recording.
Alright, this is my presentation on industry regulations. So RTE is one of the companies we looked at, and it's a public company, while TV3 is a private company. For both public and private sector, a contract is required by law. There are no major differences between contracts for either, as they are both required to specify terms of employment. However, if something is not specified on a contract, then it is not provided by an employer. Both public and private sector are required to pay employees minimum wage at least, which is $8.65, and is subject to reductions. These can be due to being under 18, being on probation, or if lodgings and food are provided as part of the job. RTE, however, has pay scales where the employee comes in at a standard rate of pay, and then on roughly a yearly basis after probation period, their pay can be evaluated and their level of pay might be raised to a maximum level. I wasn't able to get any specific figures for this. And promotions, with regards to promotions, there's a higher chance to get a promotion in the public sector in RTE than in a private company like TV3, and this is generally because there are less positions in TV3 that they'd be specifically hiring people for. And once you're within RTE as an employee, you're entitled to apply for any job that you're qualified for. You might not get the job, but you're entitled to apply for it, so there's a higher chance to get a promotion from it. There's some small differences with regards to work practices. While both specify the requirements of work in contracts, in the public sector you're only ever contractually obliged to do the work that's written into your contract. Whereas in the private sector you might be asked to perform tasks outside your role, or that aren't specifically in your contract. You might also be asked to work additional hours than what's in your contracts as overtime. So health and safety regulations apply equally to public and private sectors. There's, with regards to breaks, for every 6 hours you work, you're entitled to a half-hour break, and for every 4.5 hours work, a 15-minute break. You're also required to have 11 hours rest every 24 hours. So employees are entitled to maternity leave, but aren't entitled to pay. However, they may be entitled to maternity benefit, which is 26 weeks worth of pay. But there's also a further 16 weeks of unpaid leave. There's an entitlement to sick leave. Again, no entitlement to sick pay. But if you're injured at work, you can apply for injury benefit, which can cover you for that. And holiday pay is allowed up to a maximum of 4 weeks for a working year. Leave is generally calculated 80% of hours worked to a maximum of 4 weeks. Employees are entitled to join or form any union. However, the employers are not required to recognize any union or organized bodies for negotiation. However, they are required to recognize individual representation. Let's say a lawyer or something along those lines. Both public and private sectors or employers require employers' indemnity. RTE would have public liability on sheets by default, and companies like T3 might not have that. With regards to regulations, both public and private sector are bound by the same broadcast regulations. Ireland maintains wide-ranging laws to allow for censorship in its broadcasting. RTE censors its broadcasts, so there's no kind of sexual contact or content or political bias within their broadcast, but TV3 has released uncensored broadcasts, mostly which are music videos. Okay, I'm just going to skip to the end. So with regards to contract termination of contracts, in order to terminate a contract, a period of notice is required. This is based on the duration of work, but a minimum of 1 week is the standard regardless. There can be many reasons to terminate a contract, but mostly due to gross negligence, breach of contract, or poor standard of work. Yeah, that's my presentation. There's a bit more in on the slides there.